After the reason of what you say Phainon is stronger. Nope. Which is why I typed this out. Literally just after they released Saridra, they come up with Ebonite. In less than one patch, half a patch, in half a patch, they released an upgrade to the Castorice team. So I would bro, these two are literally the Acheron versus Firefly. The question is, who is the Firefly and who is the Acheron? And I think that will ultimately depend on version 3.7. Okay, chat, think about it. Think about it. Back in version 2, when they had Acheron and they had Firefly, both of them were under steady progression in terms of teams, in terms of cost, right? In terms of investment. At the very last patch, before going into version 3, that update was Fuke and Sunday. Now, Fuke obviously made Firefly infinitely better, especially if you do Firefly, but Sunday was not that crazy compared to Acheron. But after a while, when they go into like the middle portion of version 3, that's when they gave Acheron even more tools. And who the even plays Super Break in version 3? So going into version 4, we are at a very, very, very similar timeline where we are about to get Cyrene. And I'm going to I'm fucking sure Cyrene is gonna be a fucking support, right? I don't wanna speculate. I don't know if she's gonna be a sustain, because remember, it's gonna be any day in the month. But I'm almost sure she's gonna be a support, which means because she is the only unit in 3.7, at least before we go to 3.8, and they already mentioned 3.8 is gonna be circling back to Panacony, right? If Cyrene is gonna be the last unit for Amphoris, and that is the end all be all, right? That's 3.7, right? Whether she works with Phainon better or work with Castorice better, that will determine the final showdown, right? Because eventually, let's just be real, one of them is gonna go west. Because that is then the shift in focus, right? Like, eventually when you want to bring new teams, right? New archetypes, new meta, whatever the hell it's gonna be, older archetypes, they just unfortunately get overshadowed. Who the hell remembers Topaz? Who the hell remembers Jay? Okay, Jay for a little bit of time in pure vision, but nobody remembers Topaz. Nobody even remembers what Firefly does anymore, because nobody plays Super anymore. But they could sometimes occasionally bring them back up with shield buffs, right? For example, the upcoming endgame content, the 3-team endgame content, they are gonna be having the Puppet Trio, right? And that is the perfect boss for Super Break. Which means if they really, really wanted to make these older teams work again, all they have to do is just throw in the environment to make them work. And then it will just come back into life again. But that won't be like their main focus. Because version 4 will have its own thing, right? Every single version, they have their own thing. So I don't even know what the hell version 4 is going to be. But as of right now, for Phainon on Castorice, both of them has gotten like an insane amount of like vertical investment since their launch, right? We thought it was like, okay, where people thought it was like the Herda because she was the emanator of Erudition, right? Just like how Acheron was like the emanator of Annihilation, Self-Annihilation, whatever. So like Acheron had a lot of love. So it was between Acheron and Firefly. So Herda being an emanator herself, okay, yeah, you know what? This is gonna be an emanator patch. Only for her support to literally outclass her in every way, shape, and form. Which is a little bit silly, right? So going into Amphoris, we have Saridra for Phainon. And then we have Hyacinth for Castorice. Teep is like kind of neutral. Okay, to be fair, Teep honestly is probably going to be going on with Herda. Especially once they come up with Ebonite. You are either going to be replacing Teep or RMC. But the reason why I would say there's a higher likelihood of Teep not being with Castorice is because who is RMC? Who is Mimi? And there it is. So what I'm guessing is going to be happening, right? Castorice is going to look something like the bigger Mimi, Evernight, and Hyacinth. That's Castorice's team. And then for Phainon, which also happens to make use of Mimi, which also happens to be lore accurate. You know, they are like best friends from IDs and ICA. I'm guessing what is going to happen is for Phainon, it's going to be Saridra, Sunday, and Mimi. The bigger Mimi. And then these two can fight it out among themselves who won each better. Because technically, at the end of the day, there's only one Mimi. So you either give one of them Remembrance Trailblazer or Teep. And if that's going to be the case, I personally think Teep is gonna be much better off in Castorice, at least compared to Phainon. Then Phainon gets Elysia, Teep goes with Castorice, and then Mimi retires from home and transitions into the brand new MC going into version 4. Welcome and thank you for coming to my tech talk. And there it is. Okay, all those are just speculations. All those are just my speculations. I'm guessing that's how it's gonna shape up in the meta. And then once version 4 comes, I don't know what brand new path it's gonna be on, but it's gonna be looking very, very.
You have cooled your last cool, my man.